You probably don't remember this girl from Naruto Shippuden, and if you do, I'm doing a bit. She is Shiho, last name not given, and she is a minor character who appears in the pain arc of Naruto Shippuden, and she serves a cute, clever purpose in both the characterization of Shikamaru and Naruto, and in the wider themes of growing up, maturing, and coming of age present in the pain arc. Let me explain. But first, we have to backtrack a bit. Jiraiya, as we know and you probably do remember, dies fighting pain. Sad times. Throughout the fight, Jiraiya is distracted and spends most of his time and mental energy trying to figure out and counter the many mysterious abilities of the legendary Rinnegan, and how Pain is doing all the wacky and inhumanly powerful things that he is doing. Sadly, he figures it all out too late, but he does have an epiphany moments before his death. However, the audience is cucked by dramatic flair, and before Jiraiya can communicate his discovery to Lord Fukasaku, the legendary Giza sage himself, who still remains with him at this point in the battle, in a manner that would also clue in the audience, his throat is crushed by the Asura Path. Jiraiya then, with the last of his strength, imprints on the Giza sage a secret 7-digit code and has him flee, escaping in order to carry the message back to the Leaf Village. Hopefully they, and particularly Naruto, of whom the message is meant for, armed with this knowledge, would be able to succeed where he had failed and defeat Pain. What a fella. Sad times. After Lord Fukasaku and the code successfully make it to the Leaf Village, Tsunade puts Shikamaru, you know, the smart guy, on the case and sends him over to the Leaf's cryptanalysis team so they can try their hand at cracking the code. That is, after all, kind of their thing. Shikamaru heads over there and talks to this old geezer. He ain't no sage, and he doesn't know shit. He says the code doesn't match up to any in the Leaf's algorithms, and that they really can't help without more information. Enter our forgotten girl, Shiho. Shiho is a member of the cryptanalysis team. And the way I did that dramatic introduction would have you believe that she's about to figure it out, the code that is. But she doesn't. She simply pouts a little and says that without the key they can't help, and that she doubts they'll ever be able to decode it at all. Kind of a fucking doomer over here. I just did that dramatic intro because your investment in her is heightened because of my previously manipulative title, thumbnail, and initial introduction. You really are an idiot allowing yourself to be manipulated like that. Sad times. Shiho's a disheveled youth, with hair strands out of place and a very ordinary outfit contained in her lab coat. She's a smart girl, you see. You just heard me say lab coat, right? Cryptanalysis team, right? She's got too much to do and is too smart to care about looking kempt and pretty all the time. She's also kind of abrupt and says frankly all the time, because she knows you're an idiot and that she has to explain everything to you. And yes, I'm dubbing out over here. Frankly. All in all, she's a total hottie, bro. And oh, wait, look at that. She kinda likes Shikamaru. Shikamaru explains to the cryptanalysis boss and Shiho that he'll be back later if he makes any progress. The geezer says he's tired and will be heading home, so Shikamaru will have to go there to reach it. Shiho then jumps at the opportunity and volunteers to stay behind after hours in case Shikamaru comes back, and this time they'd be all alone. After Shikamaru leaves, we noticeably see her fixing her hair in the mirror and monitoring her appearance now. That's Shiho's introductory scene, and her crush on Shikamaru relays into all of the scenes they share together throughout the rest of her brief run on the show. She is elated when they crack the initial code and Shikamaru says she can come to the coming meeting with Tsunade and Fukasaku about it. And later in the arc, when Shikamaru saves her from debris after the almighty push destroys the entire village, resulting in him breaking his leg, she cries over him, guilty that it was all her fault. It's love, bro. Or at the very least, it's a very, very light crush. Now you might be thinking, a Shikamaru love interest? Why? That's kind of redundant, right? Tamari has already been set up and fleshed out much better for that distinction, and you'd be right, at least about the Tamari part, she's the best.
Are you two going out or what?
And sure enough, her and Shikamaru do end up together, but Shiho in these little moments are in no way redundant. And that becomes evident when you ask why she is attracted to Shikamaru, and why now. To properly explain that, we've got to remember where Shikamaru was at this point of the series, and what has very recently happened in his life. We gotta backtrack a bit. Prior to the Pain arc on the Leaf Village side of the narrative, we got the Akatsuki Suppression arc, featuring the immortal duo Kakuzu and Hidan. And this arc was actually primarily about Shikamaru, and Shikamaru's journey throughout it quite clearly parallels a lot of what Naruto goes through in the Pain arc. Shikamaru's sensei dies in a battle with the Akatsuki, he loses his teacher and mentor and father figure and goes through a major grief period dealing with the death of somebody close to him for the first time, only to go on to mature from the experience and step into the big leagues without the guidance and the protection of his sensei and surpass him by defeating his sensei's killer, who just happens to be one of the most dangerous ninjas in the world. All in all, becoming somebody to be relied upon rather than having to rely on others. This all happens with Naruto in the Pain arc. Jiraiya dies, Naruto majorly grieves for the first time, only to step into the limelight on his own, having matured as a person and a ninja, and he goes on to defeat Pain, becoming the village's hero and savior and somebody to be relied upon, rather than having to rely on others. But just like a lot of things, like becoming a Chunin, Shikamaru did it first, and this allows him to help and support Naruto through this process. Shikamaru displays all of this throughout the arc, but mostly during Naruto's grieving period. Shikamaru, who is focused on solving the code and helping to prepare the village for a potential further confrontation with Pain and the Akatsuki, seeks out Naruto to get his help, only to find that he is depressed and not leaving his house, and Naruto's spacing out when he asks him questions about what the code could mean. Shikamaru, having gone through this exactly not too long ago, knows what to do and gets Naruto out of the house and takes him to visit Kurenai. Naruto, when he sees Kurenai-sensei, freaks out, thinking that she got fat, but Shikamaru explains that she is pregnant with Asuma's child, and through Kurenai's dialogue it is made clear that Shikamaru checks on her and looks after her all the time. Shikamaru explains further that Asuma entrusted in him to be the child's teacher, sensei, and father figure, as Asuma once was to Shikamaru. The point Shikamaru is making, and what gets through to Naruto, is that sulking won't change anything, and that they are getting to the point where they are becoming the leaders of the village, and those that need to be relied upon, as the ones they once relied upon are increasingly moving on in their lives or dying. They aren't going to be kids forever, and somebody has to step up. As Shikamaru says,
"After all, we can't stay brats forever."
And this is all made more powerful by the fact that this is coming from Shikamaru, the laziest of all of the original Genin, that this is such a drag guy, who's now the most mature and responsible of them all, constantly relied on by Tsunade to take on mission after mission and important task after important task. The Pain arc is about coming of age in this sense, maturing and taking on the responsibility of being a young adult, and leaving behind childhood. Shikamaru already has. We watched it, and now it's Naruto's turn, and that's what he does. Keeping all this in mind is important when reflecting on why Shiho is attracted to this Shikamaru. Shikamaru isn't the heartthrob character that Sasuke is, where all the girls have always liked him. No girl until now has really crushed on or lusted after Shikamaru in the narrative. Ino doesn't, Sakura doesn't, Tenten doesn't, etc, etc. Even Temari, who it's almost immediately obvious he's going to end up with after they first interact, isn't exactly blushing at his every move like Hinata or something. Their relationship is far more playfully confrontive and argumentatively flirty. However, Shiho is blushing around him all the time. Shiho is attracted to his maturity and his responsibleness, and because he's got his shit together. And it's through Shiho's immediate and honest attraction to who Shikamaru has become that the audience is given a moment to reflect on his journey. You think, yeah, Shikamaru is totally a catch now. It's obvious why she'd be all over him. Plus, thematically, it's a reward for coming of age and growing up, being perceived this way by women. Fullmetal Alchemist, which shares a lot of these themes as well, about growing up and coming of age, as it is similarly about young adults maturing, stepping up and taking responsibility, has many moments with the same sort of romantic attraction from Winry to Ed, as she slowly realizes she's in love with him as she matures throughout the series, and he becomes more lovable throughout his maturing throughout the series. This panel when she thinks to herself, when did his shoulders get so broad? After Ed reinvigorates his motivation to make his brother whole again and marches off to do so, epitomizes this to me. Guess what, guys? It's not really about his shoulders. It's a metaphor for being somebody that can be relied upon. This maturity equals sexy trope maps pretty inarguably onto reality. If you get your shit together and seem responsible, mature, and capable, girls tend to like that. Like a lot. I wouldn't know, but it seems to be true. It's basically the meme that people say about focusing on yourself to be more successful romantically. Only when you stop looking do the opportunities seem to mount in front of you. The point is clear though. Maturing, taking responsibility, and getting your shit together drives the ladies wild, as is the case with Shikamaru and Shiho, and this highlights his character growth and thematically rewards him while also showing him as a guide for Naruto throughout the arc. And sure enough, come the end of the arc, when Naruto has achieved everything, defeated pain and talked no jutsu'd him like a real man, taken responsibility and matured, Ino of all people has a moment during the celebration where she says,
"You know, I could almost fall for him."
Huh?
The ladies love that shit, coinciding with the theme we've been hitting on throughout the video. God, I'm just so smart. See how that was constructed? Women, believe it or not, can be attracted to more than just cute boys sometimes. They aren't as vain as those disgusting men who only put stock in looks. Responsibility and maturity drive the ladies wild, and that is what's portrayed in Shiho's attraction to Shikamaru here. It's emblematic of maturity, and it's a very small, neat, cute, and clever detail that enriches, however slightly, the characterization of Shikamaru and Naruto and the themes of growing up and maturing in the pain arc. In a rather effective and endearing manner, mind you. And to me, in the end, it's important. Shout out our girl Shiho, we appreciate you. Oh, and just to save the would-be Google search, because you probably forgot this too, the secret message in the code was, "The real one is not among them." Fuck, Naruto is so cool. You probably Googled it a few minutes ago, huh? What a fucking 10 out of 10.